I can't even imagine how my life would have turned out if I hadn't taken the training. Because in the situation that I came to, I didn't have a single answer, not for a single question that I had to this life. 7 years ago, I went through an emotional breakdown. My husband died. It happened when I was pregnant. And my life, it completely changed. I had a grief that I couldn't get out of. It was like a vicious cycle. It was different. It was like active grief, tears. It was like this kind of closure in myself. I felt like I was underwater all the time, shall we say. I mean, I looked at the people around me, that they were living some kind of life, that they have things going on in their lives, that they're getting together, they're separating, they're doing work, they're having fun. So there's a life. I completely separated myself, even though I didn't feel separated. There is some invisible border or wall or something else, and it is invisible to others, but you are definitely in a capsule. That is, you realize it. You do not know whether you can overcome it. There is such a desire, but is it even real? An incomprehensible feeling of loneliness. Even with intensive communication, it's always been there. I realize that I feel bad, that I just can't stand it sometimes, that I wanted to end it all because I don't know what to do with my life, and I'm ready to give it up. And when it goes on for decades, there's this fatigue of not getting results, of fruitlessly trying to get rid of this sucking sensation inside that can't be fed with anything. And fatigue from attempts, from your own attempts, it accumulates. During the training, all this persisted. So it became clear, let's say, what exactly happened. I was able to call it in words that, yes, it's a break in emotional connection. It became clear how it was organized, that is the structure of this incident, and which is responsible, exactly what properties of mine are responsible for me staying in that state. The training helped a lot. Firstly, to realize that I'm normal, that there are such people, that they cope with their tasks quite successfully. You just need to understand what to do and how you have to go through this life in general and contact with people. It became very clear. So the training made me closer to other people. This barrier was removed. I began to communicate more. But this moral state, it persisted for several months. And literally 2 months ago, I realized that I had this state of mind like I just drowned. I couldn't breathe, and I inhaled. I mean, I had this heavy backpack on, and I dropped it, and I didn't even realize what it was. I enjoy life very actively, one day, 1 week, and I started to analyze afterwards. What is it? What's wrong with me? Maybe it will pass, maybe it's some kind of accident, something is happening. And then I realized what it is, that this state of dependence on this situation is gone. They say that time heals. Time didn't heal me. I think that the training cured me. After the training, I felt joy in life. And there was a lot of joy because joy began to come from the simplest and smallest things that happen with us every day. Of course, no suicidal thoughts and no depressive black holes that you fall into and don't know how to get out of. It is no longer there. I can remember it, but I can't feel it anymore. And it happened. It is surprising for me that it happened without my active efforts. It's like something inside of me just slipped away, went away. And at once, there appeared all sorts of small pleasures, like going out for bread. I got a great joy from looking at people. chatting somewhere with someone, talking. And it became clear that if you can't hang out with the person you want to be hanging out with, you could just communicate with any other person and you'd be fine. That was amazing to me, because previously I had been very selective. I couldn't always talk. I didn't feel like socializing. And even if something needs to be done that day, it's done through force. It's minimized. So contact is minimized. And now I have no barrier to communication at all. And I realize that I can communicate with different people. I don't even have to wonder who's in front of me, just this person. And I can look further, let's say beyond their outer shell, and further than my thoughts before the training about them. There was no such a deep look to understand what was behind words, behind a smile, behind a pleasant evening, behind help, behind any human actions. The fact that it is subject to some laws and that it can be taken into account, and taken into account for the benefit of both sides, this understanding was not there before. The training helped me to not just treat a person well or look past their faults, but to understand what drives them and how that relates to the way you behave and how you can interact with each other in order to get a result that makes you both feel good. And even third people will feel good, not just the two of you. In general, how do you connect with a person, let's say, in communication? In fact, there's a great deal of comfort. That is, I no longer get up in the morning with the thought that I need to live my life again. I get up quite calmly, as if I were at home. I can't even tell you how it feels to be at home in this world, when you felt like an outsider, when you felt separate, and now it feels like you've come home. And accordingly, we always feel very good and free at home.